Imagine yourself across the galaxy into a planet that you know of. You should know of the remote viewing location you're going to. It can be a coordinates. That's still knowing. You review it. You lock it into the databases. The fiber optics in this were different than the fiber optics we have. My dad says we caught up in to this technology, but not really, because he said the first fiber optics he held in his hands, they became glowing. They contained their own energy. The night viewing device, which was the eye lens, he held it up in the hallway of the Pentagon to see the green figures moving in the dark. It held its own energy. So we're not quite there yet. Atomic alignment was my dad's and General Trudeau's #1 mandate. We haven't done anything in atomic alignment. The atomic alignment, though, is related to the matrix of the yttrium and the living biology. Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on the frequency changes between the skins of the ship?
Yes, sir.
And is there a phenomenon that's happening where you have counter-rotation?
Yes, sir.
Between each one of the skins?
You got it. Yes, absolutely. Very good. 6 layers of skin. Each skin has a different polarity to it at a different time. And that is your Philadelphia experiment with your revolving fields. Let's go into something else. I'm glad you asked that question. I forgot a big part of this. Field density device. Einstein states that the universe is made up of one substance, the field. Where the field is particularly weak is what they used to call the ether. Now they got a new term, big deal. Where the field is particularly strong is mass, us, our planet, the egg we're living in. When the field density device, we have field density device every day, and some of you use it. The only one we have is temporary. It's called an explosion. In an explosion, all fragments move out from each other at the same time, but it's only a nanosecond. It only lasts a nanosecond, so we can't do much with it. Can you fire a bullet through an explosion? Nope, you can't, because what it has done is it has isolated itself from this field, and that's what the ship does. It creates an isolation from this field. Once you isolate yourself from this field of the Earth, then you have to install into the new field all of the boundaries that you deem necessary. You have to install gravity, you would have to install air, but the ship didn't have air. The EVs didn't, the biological units didn't need the air. But you have to put in the whatever environment you do need within the ship for the survival of the ship, you have to install. If you want gravity in there, you can put gravity into it. Now, if you created an isolated field right here, right now, in my hand, a sphere, it would go, whoop! It would just flash away like a UFO flash away. Why? We're moving through space at 350,000 miles per hour. You created it standing still. Big problem. As soon as you create it, it's gone. So you better have the landing site correct. And that's why my dad founded remote viewing. He in his tapes, he says they were dummies and such. They weren't really dummies. They had pretty good vision of what was taking place here. Somewhere around the year 2030, this would go back. Now, I heard this morning say a planet's coming, and this is going to take place, and this is going to take place. Hey, don't think that way. And besides, even if it is, better off not knowing. And that's negative. You got to leave the negative out of this. That's where the religion comes in. That's where the military's having a hard time all of a sudden. Can you follow that? Does that make any sense, or I'm not explaining it right? Okay. Questions?
Yeah. What is your father, and what do you feel about the abduction phenomenon? Is it real? Is it actually happening? Who's doing it?
I have no idea. I have my own theories.
What's your theory?
My theory is that if you adopted somebody, why would you put them back? So you put back a reasonable facsimile of them and keep the original, but that's just my theory. If you've been abducted, it's probably not you. It's probably a good clone representation. I don't know. I'm being silly, but I don't know. Yes, sir.
Yes, you spoke about an altered timeline, and we need to go back and we're going to build this again.
Yes. Yeah, it's hard to understand. I don't understand it. But let's just say that, let's use one of the theories of time, the loop system, where you keep going back and you don't know that you're reliving the loop, okay? There is a religious set that believes in that, by the way. But what we have to do is this. If we like the timeline we're in, we know that nature, no matter what you do to it, always returns. We know there's checks and bounds within the universe of black holes, and there's new creation, and there's dying stars. So we know that the nature of the earth is repeated into the heavens. Now, the loop. You say to yourself, well, I don't want to live in no loop. I want out of a loop. Fine. Mature. Mature. And you'll come out of the loop. That's what I've been told. And how do you mature? Exactly what you people are doing in this room now. You're looking outside of the box. And that's where you want to be. Remember, the earth is a product of your mind. Each and every one of you is God. Remember, in the beginning, God created so many souls. Just a number. A fixed number. So what happened? The good book tells us pride. Here comes Lucifer. I'm as good as you, God. All right, I'm going to create something here and teach you a lesson, my child. And what he said is, I'm going to send you down to this place called Earth. And I'm going to let each and every one of you, through reincarnation, come back and play the part of number uno. Each one of you will have the chance to play Jesus Christ if you keep up this pride. Then I'm going to bring you back. And I'm going to say to you, have you learned anything? And you're going to say, yes, I've learned I'm equal to you anyway. You wouldn't make me any less because you love me. This is not my philosophy. This goes into some of the Eastern beliefs. So, you know, this thing of love means more than any of us can ever imagine. That's why I call this a loving machine. It's my Harley. My wife, I can love it as much as my wife. I know women, I know. I'm on a duck. Yes, sir.
Do we know where this ship came from and why?
Yes, sir. I'm going to tell you, and I shouldn't. It comes from the year 2032. 2032. That's when we got to build it by. What happens after that if we don't build it? The timeline returns. You won't like it. Yes, ma'am. Good point. Last night I was watching the film by, who's that, Bill? The speaker with the gray hair. Can't recall his name. Holdeman, yeah. He says in there, what was your question again? If we had not developed the atomic bomb, we didn't drop it, and we didn't create the ripple in time that we did by dropping the bomb. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, Richard said that we're going to put atomic, and the president says we're going to put atomic engines in space with our rockets. No, 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 no. We will never do that. We're not allowed to do that. That's against nature. That ripple goes on forever, as you know. What damage does it cause? It hurts the human mind. No. When Teller was a very good friend of my father, the first explosions on an atomic bomb, now most of you won't know this, he said to my dad, Corso, we should have known as soon as we saw the mushroom come up that there was a reverse energy cloud going down through the center of the earth, focusing out the other side, disrupting our magnetic core. They're talking about the poles flipping and all this type of phenomena and stuff, but nuclear testing, nuclear bombs, nuclear anything, no, 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 no. We have to stop it. Not in space, not allowed in space by nature. Don't do it. And besides, rocketry has to go. Rocketry is the bill of goods you've been fed. This is where it's at. Yes, sir.
I got a few dozens of questions.
Wait a minute, there's two of you. Take you both. Go ahead.
I'm trying to limit quick then, just two short ones. Have you heard of DNA and communications of cells from a person at remote distances? The DNA is hooked up to, for instance, like the lie detector amplifier.
Well, I do know